Hello and welcome to Military Mayday. We're pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. We've got a couple of stories here, pretty interesting things to really look at. Biden ordered the army is going to war. We're going to read this article out. It's a shorter one. Get through it pretty quick. Pretty much a bit informative. Russia and China warn against cycle of retaliation as Biden threatens to target their ally Iran after a drone attack killed U.S. 3 soldiers. So as he's ordering the army go into war, Russia's saying, no, 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 we're going to do a cycle of retaliation. And we will get into some things on there. But before so, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I want to thank all the new subscribers and all the old subscribers. Anywho, let's get into it here. Washington has announced that it will respond to a drone attack on the military base in Jordan in which 3 American soldiers got killed. I've also seen some things coming out about Biden might be backing down. I'm looking into that stuff. The Americans claim that the attack was carried out by militants supported by Iran. The conflict in the Middle East escalated dramatically after the Hamas, October 7th. U.S. President Joe Biden blamed the attack on the base on radical groups supported by the Iran and operating in Syria and Iraq and vowed retaliation. However, Iran denies its involvement and claims that militant groups in the region do not take orders from Iran. Will there be open conflict? Over the past decades, we faced with the risk of open conflict between Iran and U.S. on many occasions. Both sides have tried to avoid. Biden's political opponents in America point out that there have been 160 attacks on American troops since October 7th and accuse the White House of not doing enough to rein in Iran. Yeah, I mean, they can pull sanctions on everything and everybody, but he didn't pull any sanctions on them, did he? He has turned our soldiers into targets. Even Republican presidents have been reluctant to engage in direct confrontation with Iran. During his tenure, Trump repeatedly threatened to attack him, but in the end, he did not go beyond economic sanctions and an attack on Baghdad, the capital of Iraq, and the aim of killing Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani. After that, Tehran announced a big revenge, but it has not happened yet. So, Trump hit him with sanctions, an attack on Baghdad, and he took out one of their commanders, and probably did that in quick time. But here's old shithead Biden can't seem to find his shoes at times. Possible U.S. responses among the options are attacks on Iranian personnel in Syria and Iraq, or an attack on Iran's navy or facility in the Persian Gulf. And the Iranian government has already said that the direct attack on Iran would mean crossing a red line. The U.S. strikes are expected to be carried out within days and could include strikes on multiple targets. The scale of the attack is not clear yet, but any military action is likely to cause unease among key allies in the Middle East who fear the outbreak of a regional war. Yeah, you think? Saudi Arabia wants to restrain response, and Turkish President Erdogan has accused the U.S. and Great Britain of trying to turn the Red Sea into a sea of blood. Biden faces a major challenge: how to respond to the attack without risking escalation. He has already announced a response to the deaths of the 3 Americans, and his absence would leave him vulnerable to name-calling from Donald Trump, with whom he is likely to run for president. Okay, there is no appetite among European states for major conflict with Iran or in the Middle East. Yeah, I don't think Iran's ever attacked anybody. I'm sure they use their proxies, but they had defended themselves. This is within the last 300 years, I think. But, we're getting ready to send in the army, I guess. And then here's Russia and China warn against that on Iran, which is their allies. Is this going to escalate out? I'm not going to read this whole article. It's super long. Russia and China have rushed to the defense of their ally Iran and urged the United States to show restraint in response to the killing of the 3 soldiers. The United States is vowed to respond to a drone attack on a base in Jordan that claimed the lives of 3 American soldiers, raising fears of an escalating Middle East conflict. Now, here's the thing, Iran's done this Here's Russia and China saying, oh, they don't need to be accountable. We'll step in. The United States is about a response to the drone attack on a base in Jordan. Iran-backed militants have been blamed for the strike on Tower 22 base, leading to the calls at home for U.S. President Joe Biden to respond robustly and with force. But in an apparent bid to temper America's expectations against Iran, Russia and China both have called for a de-escalation. The Kremlin asked on Tuesday about potential U.S. airstrikes on Iranian interests, said tensions in the Middle East were high and that steps were needed to de-escalate rather than destabilize the wider region, where fighting is currently raging in Gaza. China on Tuesday also warned against a cycle of retaliation in the volatile region. So here's some pictures here. Now down here at the bottom, where is it? The Pentagon and State Department has spent decades drawing up scenarios and creating lists of possible targets. The New York Times reported that the U.S. has identified the major drone-making factories, overseas suppliers, and are working to help Russia in Ukraine and providing armaments to the Houthis. The working assumption of American officials, the paper said on Sunday's attack, was made by the Iranian-made drone. So it looks like they're probably going to hit these here. They're overseas. Oh, well, has identified their drone-making factories, their overseas suppliers, which are working to help Russia and Ukraine. I don't know. The Pentagon has existing plans for potential strikes on Iranian missile sites and air bases in case a conflict broke out between Iran and Israel. Maybe they'll pull sanctions somehow and keep them from getting the parts they need. Yeah. Well, they might be there. Maybe they'll hit them. Israel's been carrying out high-profile bombing runs, practicing attacks on Natanz nuclear site in the underground facility at Fordow. The U.S. even formulated a cyber attack option. This is the one that's interesting against Iran, codenamed Nitro Zeus. Now, we've been hearing about a cyber attack, haven't we? The cyber attack would disable Iran's air defense communication systems and crucial parts of its power grid. John Bolton, he's kind of a warmonger. As the U.S. plotted its next move, it's revealed that its forces may have mistaken the enemy drone that killed the 3 troops for an American one and let it pass unchallenged into the desert base. As the enemy drone is flown in at low altitude, the U.S. was returning to the small installation town, according to the preliminary report cited by 2 officials who were not authorized to comment and insisted on anonymity. 8 were medically evacuated, including 3 who were going to Lewiston. Suffered minor traumatic brain injuries. It's from the percussion, shell shock. So there's their plan. It's either be a cyber attack, Iran missile sites and air bases, which is probably what that'll end up being, or we've got this possibility here of hitting these drone making suppliers that are also going to Russia. So you get kind of a 2-for-1 here. So I don't know. I mean, they've got all 3 possibilities. It's endless with the U.S. military. But anywho, like, subscribe, toodaloo.